welcome to my channel. My name is Amy Beth and I talk about all things to do with women's health and lifestyle. Thanks for joining me. Today I am talking about how to take care of curly hair in a really simple way. And I thought it would be an excellent time to do it because my hair is currently wet, freshly washed, so I can show you a couple of things. And I've had a couple of my friends and family asking me what I do to take care of my hair, so I thought why not just make a video that everyone can see. So before I get into everything, I just want to say that one of the biggest concerns that people I know have had is that doing stuff to take care of curly hair makes hair care way more complicated. And that's not exactly true. If you go and look up on YouTube, you'll find there are thousands of different methods, some of them more complicated than others. As far as my personal method, I have found the only complicated part of it is actually relearning how to care for your hair. But once you have a new method, it's not really any more complicated than the old one, it's just different. So again, the most complicated part is learning how to go from one type of hair care method to another type of hair care method, but it doesn't really take any more time or effort in the long run. Okay, so to get started, I just wanted to cover some really basic curly hair facts. Most of you probably know them already if you have curly hair. I personally had straight hair until I was about 13 when I hit puberty and my hair just went curly. And that was really, really strange for me. I had to totally relearn how to take care of my hair and what to do with it because the normal things that I did, like brushing, just turned it into fluff instead of making it smooth and silky, and it was really confusing. Apparently not that uncommon. When I asked my hairdresser, it happens to people often. So that's an interesting fact. But a couple of interesting things about curly hair. The best way I know to describe it is that instead of having like a smooth straight hair follicle, the hair follicle is actually broken up into sections. And that's why it's curly, because each of those sections can move on its own. But one of the things that actually means is that instead of there being a nice smooth straight strand for the oils that your scalp produces to run down, it's broken up. So you don't actually get as much of your scalp moisture to the ends of your hair as you would with straight hair. Combine that with the fact that we don't often brush our hair, means that a lot of those natural oils that are produced to nourish our hair never actually make it to the ends. Means that with curly hair you often have an oily scalp and really dry ends. Another curly hair fact that's important to remember is that curly hair responds to moisture, whether that's water or oil. Anything moist will affect your curly hair, whether that's humidity in the air, water in the shower, or some kind of oily product that you put in your hair. Something else that's important to remember with curly hair is that some people have curly hair that responds better to water and some people have curly hair that responds better to oily products. So that's something to keep in mind and something to try and work out, what does your hair really like. Okay, so to start off with hair care, I'm going to talk about washing our hair and some common mistakes that people make. So because curly hair typically means you have an oily scalp and dry ends, something we often do is we assume that we have oily hair. And that means that we'll then pick the harsh shampoos and not condition our hair properly in order to strip all those oils out and try not to add too much back in because we're trying to reduce the overall oiliness. This is actually not helpful, and it does the opposite because our bodies are designed to produce a certain amount of oil on our scalp to nourish our hair, and by stripping it all away, that causes our head to then overproduce oil, which just makes the problem continuous and ongoing. And then whenever we're using harsh products to strip those oils out, we're actually making it worse and drying the ends of our hair out, giving ourselves split ends, and just really ruining our hair. So a really simple solution is to switch out your shampoo for something designed for dry hair. So if you're using a product designed for dry hair, it still washes the oil out, but it doesn't completely strip your scalp. It's a lot more gentle and a lot more nourishing. The other thing that you can do is pick something with raw and natural ingredients. These are much healthier for your hair, much better for your scalp, and help to balance out the amount of oil that it produces. The other thing you can learn is how to actually wash your hair. So instead of putting the shampoo from your scalp all the way through to the ends of your hair, you probably just want to focus with a small amount of shampoo just on your scalp, and then allow the residue to rinse through to the ends of your hair. And then when you condition, what you want to do is condition from the ends of your hair up to the scalp, and you don't want to skip the scalp because this is what happens if you not adding any extra moisture back in, your scalp will overproduce oil again. So what you want to do is put a generous amount in the ends of your hair and a very light amount across your scalp, but make sure you do that thoroughly. If you do struggle with really oily scalp, obviously you can experiment with different shampoos and conditioners that work for you. Maybe you're better off using a dry shampoo for dry hair, but then using a very lightweight moisturizer that's not for dry hair on your scalp. So my absolute favorite shampoo and conditioner to use is this one, which you can buy online through Priceline Pharmacy, but you cannot get it in the stores anymore. I have seen it on eBay as well. I'm sure there's some other places. And this is my absolute favorite. It is a little bit pricey, but it's made with all natural ingredients. My hair absolutely loves this one. However, I have been using something a bit cheaper more recently, and that is this one, which you can buy from supermarkets. It is pretty good. I personally don't like it as much, but it does a pretty good job. Smells really nice. This is the Normal Balance one, and I buy this in the shampoo because it smells good. And the dry one smells like coconut, which isn't too bad, but I don't like it as much. But I do condition with the dry conditioner. Okay, so I'm going to talk about leave-in products because a lot of people with curly hair know that they probably need to be putting some kind of leave-in conditioner in there. But one of the biggest issues is knowing what kind of leave-in conditioner to use. I use something very specific, and I'll show you what it is shortly, but I just want to cover a couple of different variations. So there are water-based leave-in conditioners and there are oil-based leave-in conditioners, and they will have a couple of different effects. Something I would recommend is never using an oil-based leave-in conditioner on wet hair. The reason being that oil floats on water. So if your hair is wet and you put an oil product in there, the oil is going to float to the surface, causing an oil slick on your hair. And that means that then the water is not going to dry properly, and that creates a wet, oily look. And that will cause your hair to stay damp and oily for much longer. It can be very good for your hair because it locks in that moisture, but it can also create a really oily look, and a lot of people don't like that. We're trying to avoid being over oily. So don't put your oily products into wet hair, but you can put your oily products into dry hair to nourish the ends and to create a gentle shine that looks healthy and natural but not oily. If you're wanting to put a leave-in conditioner into wet hair, what you want is a good water-based product that will absorb into your hair. Now obviously each person's hair is different, and you can get creamier products or gel-like products, and it's just a matter of searching out that one that works for you. I've seen a couple of good ones just in Priceline Pharmacy, but the favorite one that I have I use is this one, Go Curly by Marc, I think. Yes. And it's an Australian one, made in Australia. It has very little fragrance, and it is a non-chemical curl activator. It has interesting ingredients that I'm not 100% sure what they are. I have looked it up in the past and was pretty satisfied with how safe it is, but I would have to do that again to remember. I've been using it for such a long time, but it is a non-chemical one. It's quite good for your hair. I've never had it do any damage to my hair, and it doesn't have any heavy fragrances, so you're not going to end up with a really big cocktail of different fragrances from your shampoos, conditioners, and other products that you leave in. So this is my favorite, and I'm just going to go ahead and put that in now. You might want to look into getting one of these in microfiber because they cause less fluff than a regular towel. I don't use it super often, but every now and then, and it doesn't make your hair as fluffy as a regular towel because of the nice smooth texture of it. And I think they're about $5 or $6 from the reject shop. Super simple, easy tip for just every day. If you wrap your hair up in a towel, it's definitely worth having one of these. Now, some people like to blow dry their hair because they don't like having wet hair. I generally just walk out of the house like this and let it air dry. But if I'm going somewhere and I'm going to style my hair, I nearly always use a blow dryer with a diffuser, one of these big claw things. And this is just a really basic cheap blow dryer, and my hair is pretty easygoing, so I can just pop it onto like the hottest setting and get it done really, really fast. But if you have hair that's going to go insane and get super fluffy, but you want to use a blow dryer, you probably need to invest in one that has two different switches. So one for the heat and one for the speed, because what you would want to do is heat it right up but have the fan speed low. Mine just does both at once. So if I want it hotter, it's going to be harder as well. When I was a kid, we used to just blast ourselves in the head with this. And it doesn't have very pleasant results, let me tell you. And we used to get all kinds of knots and tangles in our hair from blow drying. So this is my favorite addition to a hairdryer. And I'm just gonna go ahead and blow dry my hair. I usually flip it over and do it all upside down and then just finish it off upright. And I'm just gonna do that now. Mostly dry, not completely, but it will do for now. And keep in mind that using heat products like blow dryers and straighteners will do more drying to the ends of your hair, so try not to do it too often. If you're someone who does it every day, you obviously will want to really be taking care of those ends of your hair and putting a lot of leave-in conditioners in them and heat protecting spray. So a couple of other oil-based leave-in conditioners that I use in dry hair occasionally is this one, and this is a cheap version. I used to buy the expensive one you can get it at the supermarket, and I think it's L'Oreal, and it smells amazing. This one is a cheap version, doesn't smell as nice, and I just bought this at Aldi. I don't think it's available anymore, but they do last a really long time, and it is basically floral oils. And you just use a tiny pump and just gently spread it through your hair. It is very oily, so you do have to be careful that you don't apply too much in one spot, and you definitely don't want to put this on wet hair because it will leave an oil slick. My other absolute favorite product is this one from Lush. It is the B Hair Moisturizer, and it's a creamy texture and it smells amazing. It smells like jasmine. It is beautiful, and this one is also based on oils. Has avocado oil and coconut oil and jojoba oil. So many different things in there that are really good for your hair. It's very nourishing. It does have a heavy fragrance though, so you want to use this one gently, and also typically only on dry hair, depending on what your hair likes. Okay, so to quickly go over what we've already touched on is that we need to be gently washing our hair and applying nourishing conditioners and using the most raw and natural ingredients possible to take the best care of our hair. And then if you're going to be putting a leave-in conditioner in when it's wet, you want to be using water-based products. And I usually want to be putting a leave-in conditioner in after every wash, but something that I really want to touch on is learning to not wash your hair as often, especially when you have curly hair, because it does strip a lot of those natural nutrients out of your hair. And also I like to keep it really simple. I'm lazy. I don't want to be washing and blow drying my hair every day. So I tend to wash my hair 2 to 3 times a week, and it lasts really well. I only put the leave-in conditioner in once after each wash, and then I don't use it again. And my hair really loves water. Some people's hair just goes fluffy when you add water. Mine just really curls up beautifully. So what I like to do is to keep my hair fresh during the week between washes is I just get a spray bottle and I put just water in here. Sometimes I add a little bit of vitamin E aloe vera gel, which I will link because I actually can't find my aloe vera gel, but I will link it below so you can see. I just squeeze a little bit of that in here and shake it up. And usually that's all I use. If you have hair that much prefers oily products, you could mix in a little bit of your leave-in conditioner and just spray this in your hair every time it needs a quick refresh. And it keeps it healthy, keeps it curly and nice, and I don't have to worry about washing it a lot and adding a lot of products. So it's really, really simple. Essentially, it's just about knowing what products that you need to be using in your hair instead of the ones that you're currently using. And making sure you're really putting nourishing ingredients in there because your curls just love moisture. So if you can work out the kinds of products that your hair really likes, taking care of your curly hair will actually be very, very simple. Don't be surprised if your hair takes a little bit of time to get used to the new treatment, new shampoos, or whatever products you happen to be switching over or trying. I will link all of the products that I've shown in this video below. obviously the oil that you can't buy anymore. I will link the L'Oreal version of it that you can purchase. Well, that's it for this video on how to take care of your curly hair. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this has been helpful. Leave me any comments or questions that you have, and I'd love to hear about what products and what sort of things that you do to take care of your hair. Don't forget to hit like if you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to hit subscribe and the little notification bell if you want to see more videos like this. Have a blessed week. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, the like, and the little notification bell so you can get...